But, the things that I've seen, we've opened up a refrigerator drawer on a cooking line. A dead raccoon was in it.
Right.
We've stood in kitchens in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and as we're standing on the cooking line cooking, the rats are running into our sneakers.
Oh, my.
We feel them hitting our sneakers on the floor as they're running around the kitchen floor. While we're cooking, that's how many of them there were. Normally, they only come out at night.
Yeah. And
they're staring us in the face. They're saying, "You're in my kitchen, buddy."
Yeah. And there's enough of us.
Oh, yeah.
That this is our spot.
I use prophylactic behind the bar, sitting on the ground under the sinks.
And it's used.
I've walked into kitchens where I had to turn around and walk right back out and take a jar of powdered garlic, sprinkle it on the end of my tongue, and then breathe through my mouth, not my nose, while I'm in the kitchen. And I can make it maybe 30 seconds before I'm ready to puke and I got to run out again. Oh. So the things that I've seen are remarkable, but these people live these ways. It becomes accepted to them.
Yeah, it really does. I was also watching I think it was like from season 3, the Headhunters.
Oh, my God. That's another one. So I go in with my wife. She's wearing open-toe shoes, and the cockroaches are walking across her feet as we're sitting on the bar. We had to close it down. It had a Class 5 infestation.
Yeah, I remember. There was literally, I think your wife left because there were cockroaches in the liquor bottle.
Absolutely.
Like they were about, I think it was whiskey. They were about to pour her a whiskey, and one of you had to say, "There's roaches at the bottom of that bottle that you are pouring from right now." And then the owner of this place goes, first he says, "There's no bugs." And then you go, "There's an obscene amount of bugs. Look at this video." And then he goes, "Well, it's Austin. Every place in Austin has bugs. Every bar in America has roaches." And it's like, what are you talking about? They're in the liquor.
He said the greatest line ever an owner ever said to me. Mm-hmm. I was having that argument with him, and I said, "There's bugs in your bottles." And he looked me in the eyes. And said to me, "You're a bug."
I mean, do you keep a straight face at that point?
You don't know what to do at moments like that. Sometimes.
Did I go back to second grade?
Yeah. After 272 episodes, I can honestly tell you, Sam, I have no freaking idea what I'm going to walk into next time. Right. It never ceases to amaze me. It's remarkable.
Have you ever been in one where you're like, because sometimes, look, there's a thing where I think even more so than bringing up people's families, I think more so than bringing up people's failures, there is a personality type, and you see it a lot in liars, people who lie constantly. When you point out their lies and they get caught in a lie publicly, they can get violent.
Absolutely.
And you can see it in their face.
You're blowing their whole gig.
Right. Have you had moments on the show where you're like, "Oh, I think like it's security around.
This guy could come at me."
Yeah, I think he's going to lunge at me.
Well, I have to manage that. Fortunately, people's pupils dilate before those things happen, and there's body language and things. I got to push it up to that line.
You got to know the line.
And in a way, you could say that's a little scary, John. It's also a lot of fun.
You like that
line? Yeah, sure. It's actually it's pretty.
Well,
cool
luckily
stuff.
you're a big aggressive guy yourself, so I mean you can probably.
I got to tell you a story I've never told on the air before.
Please do.
So we're doing a bar rescue. I can't remember the name of the episode, but I remember it was in Tennessee, and the husband and the wife owned it. The wife was a waitress on the floor, and while the wife was working on the floor as a waitress, the husband was screwing one of the cocktail waitresses in the back office. And this guy was so disrespectful to his wife. It was just unbelievable to me that he could do this. And his wife was a sweet, lovable, attractive. I mean, so we're watching this stuff, and I have it out with him, and he's not going to do it anymore, and blah, blah. But the waitress is still there. And you can see they're touching each other as they walk by, and suddenly, where are they? Where are they? And they're in the back again, and all this is going on. I beat the hell out of this guy and go through this whole process of what kind of husband are you, blah, blah, blah. The last day we're there, my crew and I were sitting in the office, and there's a security system with those big laser discs.
Sure.
And we drop one of those laser discs in a security system just to watch it. And the three of them are going at it in the kitchen table. So now we realize, hold on, this is a three-way thing going on here. Anyway, the things that we find are just unbelievable, Sam.
Yeah, because I guess, too, when you're dealing with people who will make the decisions that they make in their business, odds are they don't make the best personal decisions either.
Well said. You
right?
bet. Yeah.
Right, so you don't know, and you're sitting there going like, oh, wait, I can't be involved in this person's life to this degree because it's one of these black holes that takes everything with it.
Yeah. But if I don't try to change something about their personal life, I can't affect any change with the business. You're so right. It's so connected.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel guilt when even after the rescue, the bar shut down, like that Headhunters bar. Even after you saved it, it was like the people are still the same people. The problems are still the same problems. They end up like shutting down after a year or two.
Remember, he didn't pay them?
Right, and he didn't.
They all left and got other jobs and stuff. So he screwed himself.
They weren't on payroll. They worked only for tips.
Which is illegal, obviously.
Of course.
And then he has no insurance for them. There's no OSHA in place for them. The government has no knowledge that they're even in the building when they are. So what happens if you slip and fall? There's a whole ramification of ways you're screwing the employees when you do that.
Of course. Yeah. So when that happens, do you go like, oh, I wish I had done more? Or do you go, listen, I do all I can. Some people, it's sometimes going to take, sometimes it's not.
Secretly? Yeah. So this is just between you and I.
Just us. Nobody's going to hear it.
Sometimes the guy is such a jerk, you want him to fail.
Yeah.
Because he's just going to abuse the next employee.
Right.
Right? And he's going to abuse the next person. And you say to yourself, I don't really want to perpetuate this, man. So sometimes you leave by empowering the employees so they have the balls to say screw you to him.
Sure.
And stand up for themselves. If I do that, that's an accomplishment. If the business fails but the employees are better off for it, I won.
Right.
So every episode there's a hero and a villain in a strange way.
Yeah.
Sometimes the villain is the employees and the hero is the owner, and the employees are really taking advantage of this person. Other times it's the other way around.
Yeah.
The owner's the villain and the employees are good people, and they're showing up and they're just trying to make a living, and this guy's not giving them the opportunity to do so. So when the guy's a jerk, that's when I'm a jerk.
Was it owners like that made you realize, okay, some of these shows I'm just going to have to walk off without fixing these bars?
I believe 3 times I have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are my favorite episodes.
Yeah,
I love those.
Oh, that was the one that we did O-Face. Oh man, that was
that's the best.
That was the first walkout we ever had.
Yeah, and do you sit there going like, we don't walk out, but I think I'm going to walk out of this show.
Yeah, I've never done that before in the show. It's an example of having control of the show.
Yeah.
And working for an incredible network that gives me that freedom. So I'm standing there and I say to myself, guys, we can't remodel this bar. And what do we do? Well, let's get on the phone with the network, tell them the situation that we're in, and the answer was you got to do what you got to do, John.
Yeah.
And we candidly, what I did is I had an extra scene to get a little more content.
Yeah, because you got to fill the hour.
I got to fill the hour, so I had an extra scene to get a little extra content in there to make sure I had enough to make a show. And as soon as I did, I went in there and did what I had to do.
Wow,
it felt good. I got to tell you, buddy, that one felt really good.
It did.
And by the way, the ultimate vindication was about 2 years later, he got arrested and put in jail.
Right.
The owner of that place. So.
And that's when you can know I could trust my instincts.
Yeah,
I knew.
There's an example if you don't want him to perpetuate it.
Right. And that's also so interesting because you are ultimately producing a television show. So you have to get on the phone with the network and go like, hey, because they still need an Act 3.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have to figure, okay, what's the Act 3? Maybe I'll shoot this. Do you ever go, okay, I'm 2.5 days into this rescue. I mean, we're going through the motions, but the good TV isn't there yet.
Yeah, there are flatter episodes than others.
And do you go like, okay, are you thinking consciously?
In those situations, as a host, you're really challenged. I can create fake tension,
right?
Create fake scenes, and make the episode have the energy of the others, but it's fake.
Right.
I'm getting angry at things I shouldn't be getting angry at. I'm blowing things up that I shouldn't. I'm screaming at them at moments when I shouldn't. I'm creating the episode rather than them creating the episode.
Right.
As a host, I don't do that. So I'm going to ride it out. I'm not going to make it fake. I just can't make it fake, Sam. It's against every bone in my body. I've walked off in the early days when the network tried to do those things. So that's all I can really try to do.
Right. Right, just tell the story of what's actually happening.
Try to tell the story. Try to make it as interesting as I can. Try to bring out the little, nuggets of the story that are interesting.
Right.
And dive in a little deeper into the story, into the family, into the things that could be meaningful.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Are you in the editing room as well, or do you just trust your people to tell the story?
I'm not in the editing room. We have a team that edits, but we go through about 8 or 9 edits.
Oh, wow.
When we start, the first edit might be about 70 minutes. And then we'll all make notes and send them back, and then the next edit will come down to about 60 minutes, and then each edit comes a little shorter. So let's say you're a character in the show, you don't mean anything.
Right.
You're probably going to be edited out.
Sure.
The characters that are more meaningful are the ones that we track the stories of.
But that's the process you're a part of, to make sure that the story still maintains integrity.
It's still me on there.
Yeah.
I still look at it as an extension of myself, so I don't let anything happen that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah. Season 9 returns next Sunday, by the way, on the Paramount Network, February 23rd at 10 p.m., and we already know that Donnie Wahlberg is going to be on, Danny Trejo is going to be on. Does it blow your mind? Because I would imagine that a lot of these guests that come on are fans of the show, yes?
It's funny. I met Jenny here at Sirius years ago.
Yeah.
And I was reading an Us Weekly magazine, and it said that Donnie and Jenny lay in bed on Sundays watching Bar Rescue.
Yeah.
So I read that. So I sent a note to Jenny online. This is 10 years ago or so. We became great friends. Donnie and I became great. So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Everybody. So I'm going to say right now to your audience, and they should pound the hell out of you on social media. We start shooting at the end of this at the end of March. I want you to come back to another episode this year.
I'm there.
Great.
I'm there. I'm 100% there. It's the best. And like I said, I can't tell you the amount. I mean, it's got such a cult-like following, and I'm part of the cult.
Yeah, you're part of the family, buddy.
So it's like, yeah, it's one of those things that I can talk about with anybody for like hours, just like this episode and that episode. Yeah. What do you think? We were talking about before you came in of the way restaurants are handling the egg crisis. Yeah. I'm sure you're aware of like just the prices of eggs are skyrocketing in certain areas. I don't know if you've seen, but the bodegas here in New York City, they're selling Lucy's now, you know, like Lucy cigarettes. They're selling eggs in plastic bags.
$1.50?
It's like, we'll give you like $3 or $4 for 3 eggs. Yeah. And that's kind of what they're doing. And people are going like, I don't have $15 to buy a dozen eggs, but I got $3 in my pocket. I'll get
hatched a hell of a problem. Huh?
Yeah, they have.
You know, it's
but what
interesting.
do you do?
I was at Denny's this morning. I was reading, and their sales are down 23%, and their profits are down hugely because of the egg thing. So I understand they're gonna put in a 50% surcharge on eggs.
That's what
I got to tell you. If I had a breakfast restaurant, I'd be running specials on pancakes. I'd be running specials on everything other than eggs.
Focus on the other
corned
stuff.
beef hash, all that. Just run specials on it, and move the eyeball from eggs to something else.
Yeah. They said Waffle House is putting in 50-cent surcharges on each egg, which also sucks because like those restaurants, whether it's a Denny's or a Waffle House, people go in and they're going, I'll have 6 eggs. You know what I mean? Like they're ordering big portions. They're not really thinking about the price per egg. Yeah. They're looking at, this plate's going to be pretty inexpensive, but now it does put them in a position where they actually have to concentrate on the itemization, and I think that can be bad for the whole menu, because now you're not just doing it for eggs, you're doing it for, do I really need this side of bacon? Do I really need...
You reevaluate everything.
Right.
And right now, the marketplace is noisy, if you will. People are a little fatigued at the moment. So restaurant revenues are down a little bit. Costs are still going up. So it's a challenging time. It really is. And, people should remember that about 70% of the restaurants in America are individually owned, and about half of those are just single-unit ma-pa restaurants.
Right.
And we're the largest non-government employer in America. So when the restaurant industry is in trouble, the country's in trouble.
Yeah.
It's too connective.
Right. And it's tough because, we're just getting out of the pandemic, which fucked over the restaurants crazy.
And the fucking continues now.
Yeah. 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 It's really insane. But that's what you would do. Just go whatever doesn't have eggs in it. Focus on that.
Funny story.
Offer deals.
Since you brought the fuck word up, I'm going to tell another funny story. I'm doing Bar Rescue.
This is great.
And this owner gets screwed by his employees, by this guy. So I say on camera right in front of him, so he fucked you. He fucked you long, he fucked you hard, and he fucked you deep, didn't he? I said that on camera. And now we're watching the 8 edits go by. It made it past the first edit. Made it past the second edit. Made it. Son of a gun, that line aired.
It did?
They bleeped the fuck.
Sure, but it
the
aired.
rest of it aired. Absolutely. I forget what episode it is.
That's fantastic.
Do you remember which one that was, Sean?
You must have been very proud of that line. Because that's one of those things I can almost, as you're saying it.
Yeah.
We work in a place where our words are kind of our business, right? As you're saying it, when you go, he fucked you long, he fucked you hard. And then when you realize you're about to say deep, you're like, oh, this is poetry. This is beautiful.
It's a hell of a line, I thought.
It's great. It's great. And then the guy's got to say, yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, he did.
There was another in Tennessee where the husband was a real jerk to the wife. And I said to him, how big do you feel right now? He said, not your dick, you. That made the cut as well. So it's fun to do these kind of things. It's an amazing blessing to be able to do this every week the way I want to do it, in an authentic kind of way, and get a hug each week.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing when you think about that, Sam. And, we have microphones under our shirts and our chests. So when we do the hug at the end of the episode, nobody can hear what we're saying. It's all muffled.
Right.
But the things they whisper in my ear, buddy, are just incredible.
And it's real.
You're the father I never had, John. Wow, I needed that kick in the ass. My wife and I have a new outlook. My kids are proud of me again. Those things are incredible. And the ones that fight me the hardest give me the tightest hugs.
Do you see that sometimes, like, in the middle of these interactions, do you go like, oh, this person is fighting with me the way he fought with his father, or they're starting to be a kind of paternal, I can see how he's looking at me, and this goes back to childhood.
Yeah. And it ends with him almost respecting me like a father.
Right.
It's powerful, the process that it goes through. But at the end of the episode, I'll always say to the kids, "You proud of your dad now?" "Yes, I am."
Yeah.
But 4 days earlier, they said I wasn't.
Is that a trip, though, for you to realize, like, because everything is moving so fast, but for each of those people, the connection is so deep. And not to say it's not deep for you, but you're making that connection. Now, next week, I'm going to make another connection. And next week, I'm going to make another connection. Like, to realize at the end of the year.
I feel them for that week. I do.
Right.
I feel where they're at. I have this gift of sensitivity or something to understand where they're at.
Right.
When to be angry, when to pat them on the back, when to, I have the skill to be able to do that. But it's fascinating. After 272 of them, once I leave, the connection is completely gone.
Wow.
And I would tell you honestly, and fans will probably be a little disappointed to hear this, but I'm going to be honest, if half of them walked past me now, I'm not sure I would recognize them.
Wow.
Isn't that strange?
It's really strange.
In that week,
moment,
they're the most important person in my life.
Yeah. But for your own mental health and for your life, you can't maintain all those connections.
No, I can't. Some of them, if they reach out to me, I keep in touch.
Sure.
And there's some that we're good friends over the years. But
right.
If they don't, I don't.
But also there are people you should not have in your life.
Absolutely.
Right? That you interact with for 4 days and go like, thank
we
God
both met a few of those.
Yeah. Well, we got to wrap up. There's one question before we wrap up, okay? One question before we wrap up. Travis is so mad at me. But you are in a very valuable position because a lot of times successful people will give advice on how to be successful, but it's easy for them to say they're successful. You've encountered a lot of failure. Not to say that you've failed, but you've witnessed many people fail throughout Bar Rescue and everything. Why do you think people fail, and what's that common thing? Like somebody who's listening right now that's trying to do something, but it's not clicking.
Here we go. You ready?
Why do people fail?
And the book Don't BS Yourself is about this. You see, if you own a restaurant and you're failing,
right?
When you wake up in the morning, you don't look in the mirror and say, "I'm a failure." You blame it on something else. The marketplace, the marketing, that son of a gun, that agency, the construction on the road, the fucking mayor, the fucking governor, Congress, you blame it against something else. So you have no reason to change. It's not your fault you keep failing. But what if you didn't allow an excuse to step in? What if you said, any time in my life I'm failing, it's because of me? Not anything else. Anything else other people get by, I should be able to get by it too. Now when you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I'm a fucking failure. And you don't like it. And then you change. And when you accept failure is when you find success. When you own failure is when you find success. 120 episodes of Bar Rescue. I'm in Detroit, Michigan. And I look at the owner as I do every week, and I say, "Why are you failing?" And she looked at me and she said, "John, I'm failing because of the euro in Greece." In Detroit, Michigan. And she believed that, Sam. As long as she believed that, she would keep failing, wouldn't she?
Of course.
But that is it. The common denominator of failure is not owning it.
Right.
If you said to yourself, "Man, this is a terrible segment," you'll do better next time.
Right.
If you think it's the greatest segment in the world, but it was terrible, you're going to do shitty segments the rest of your life. Yeah. So own it, man. Own it.
That would be great if I was like, man, that segment was terrible. If only Jon Taffer knew how to broadcast. That's really what went wrong. John.
Well, you're going to have to come on my broadcast.
I'll do anything you're doing. I'm there. Yeah. I'm there. Just hit me up.
Buddy. We've been friends for a long time. It's always good to see you, Sam.
It's always great to see you. I can't wait for Season 9 to return next Sunday, February 23rd, 10 p.m., Paramount Network. You are the best. You're welcome here anytime. Let me know where you need me, and I'll be there. And, we'll take a break.
Great.
We'll be right back.
Season 10 in Bar Rescue, buddy.
Oh, yeah.